The viewfinder dates all the way back to the Renaissance. In the Renaissance, they would have a sheet of glass that they would take to do an outdoor study. They would draw the drawing on the sheet of glass, and they would take that back to the studio and transcribe it very, very carefully. They were just beginning to invent portable canvases at that time. Now again, keep in mind that this is a little bit overwhelming, so just hold your viewfinder up and you can frame up whatever it is that you want to draw. Now, sometimes you'll use it extensively, you'll keep it there, you'll make marks on it. Sometimes, maybe in the situation of something like this, maybe all we'll do is we'll hold it up for a moment, decide how it's going to look on our paper. Small viewfinder doesn't work that well in this situation, so I'll hold up a bigger one in the wind, and then I know exactly the drawing will look like when it's oriented on my paper. Okay, so I have a 5x7 piece of cardboard here ready to go. What I want to do now is draw the square inside that I'm going to be cutting out. To start with that, I just need to find the center, and to find the center I can just kind of draw it corner to corner. Usually you find the center of everything that you work with, whether it's a drawing or an object. Okay, when we're looking at the size of the window, we actually want to cut our window proportionately. Most paper is going to be like a 4 to 5 ratio, sometimes a 3 to 4 ratio. What I mean by that is like 1, 2, 3 units by 1, 2, 3, 4 units, or 3 by 5 would be 1, 2, 3, and then by 5 of those same units, so a little bit more stretched. So, depending on the paper you use, you could arrange this to match your paper exactly. So we're going to start with a basic unit. We're going to do like the classroom paper is 16 inches by 20 inches, so we're going to make the 4 by 5 with that one. Okay, and so what we want to do is we're going to do a square that mirrors that. So we'll use the units will be a 1/2 inch unit. So we'll have 4 of those across, and that'll be like 2 inches, and we'll have 5 of those lengthwise, and that'll be 2.5 inches, and that'll be the square we cut in the middle of this. Okay, all right. So I'm going to use the mat here to kind of position it so it's a little bit easier for me to make those calculations. Okay, but I do have the center. I have the center right here. So I get this very exact. Get this straight. You can see this is the horizontal line. And you guys, what you need to do to find the center is just to measure in from here to there and from here to there. Make sure it's right in the middle. Take that down directly. Measure the center. Same thing here. I would find the center. But this helps me. And the mat board makes it a no-brainer. The cutting board. Okay. All right, so from the center, I want it to be like 2.5 inches across. So there's 1 inch there's 2.5 inches across right there. Okay, very small little window. All right, now I want to just draw some vertical lines there. And I'm going to use this to make sure it's nice and clean. If you're not working on a cutting board, of course, what you should do is if this is like, say, 2 inches, and you want to make sure it's nice and straight, measure from the side of your paper here into exactly where that line is measured out to, and then pinch it off like that. Move it up without moving it. Give yourself a couple of marks. Move it up again. Okay, do that same thing underneath it, and then you'll be sure to have a vertical line. Okay, so I have the luxury of working on the mat board. So I can get it a little, you can get it just as exact, but it's obviously faster and easier to get it exact using a cutting board. Okay, all right. Okay, and it's going to be 2 inches across, so I'm just going to measure 1 and 1 the other way. Okay, again, using the cutting board here, or the cutting mat here, I'm going to use the lines on the cutting mat to line it up. And draw that line across the bottom. Keep it from moving. Line it up top, same way. Hold it down nice and tight so nothing moves. You can tape it if you want. and then draw that square in there. So that's basically the square that you're going to cut out. Okay. Now using that same metal edge, you can get your X-Acto knife out, bring it right up to the square here. Now what you want to do is you want to cut just slightly past the line, because you don't want a ragged edge in there. You want it to be as clean as possible. So what you're going to do is you go just past the edge here, you'll press down, and then you'll pull it across nice and steadily all the way. Got some good pressure on it, just past that line. Go back in, do it again. Keep it nice and tight up against the edge of a ruler. Okay. Go over to the other side, do the same thing. Start just past the line, press down, pull it across. Go back, do it one more time, push down, pull it across. Now, you don't want to do this on a table at home, obviously. If you're don't have a cutting board, what you want to do is get a piece of cardboard or a piece of glass or even a cutting board from the kitchen and work it on there. You can get a piece of wood. Don't use your drawing board though, because those the sort of scars you dig in the drawing board will cause you problems when you're drawing. Okay, same thing. Start just past the hole, pull, just past, do it again. Okay, last one up top. You can see I'm in my garage net right now, by the way, and it's 115 degrees. That's what I do for you guys. And pull it across. And do it again. And then when you pick it up, you should be able to drop it out. Still need, there we go. And you could cut that, but it's ready to go. And then you have your little window. Okay, so we're going to make that one, and then we'll make a bigger one because different size for different situations. Okay. So we finished the 2.5 by 2 inches viewfinder. We're going to make a larger one now. It might have been a little confusing because we centered the square within the square that I cut, and then cut that out and centered it basically. With this one we'll start a different way, a little simpler, and then just trim off the excess in the end. It doesn't have to be dead center, it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Kind of in some ways works a little bit better. So I'm gonna just tape this one down this time so it stays on within the grid. Okay. It helps that things don't move around when you're cutting them. And so rather than get dead center, I'm just going to work inside it here a little bit, leave myself a little bit of a lip. It's an 1.5 lip here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to maybe double this. So this one was 2.5 inches by 2 inches. So I'm going to go 4 by 5 inches. So I'll kind of just see how 4 fits in here. We'll start there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go here. That should be pretty centered. Okay, so the first line is just going to go here. Okay, measure down. So again, if you don't have obviously a mat, just measure down, put it there, down to 4 inches. Okay, give yourself a mark. Go over to the other side. If you don't have a mat cutting, or if you don't have a mat to cut on, give yourself 4 inches there, and then just draw it across. Now I have the mat, so I just line these up. You can see how convenient that is. Okay. All right. So 4 inches high by about 5 inches across. Okay, just go from here, measure out 5, go up top as well, measure out 5, and just draw your line in there. Okay, so considerably bigger window is what you're shooting for with this. Okay, get your X-Acto knife once again. Start just beyond the line. Push down to kind of pierce the paper. Okay, and then just nice and tight along the straight edge. Then just pull it once. Just past that line. Do it again. Nice pressure, keeping it nice and close to the edge of the ruler. Same thing here. Push it down just past the line. Pull. Same thing. One more time. Ooh, that looked like it slipped a bit. Same thing up top. Feel my blade loosening. Usually a couple of cuts will do it. You could do 3. If your blade's nice and sharp, I mean, sometimes depending on the thickness, 1 cut will do it nice and clean. This is a matte board, so it's not going to go through quite as easily. It's a little thicker than our usual paper. But the X-Acto knives are excellent for cutting out very refined shapes. Okay, and just lift it up and it should pop out. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we have 2 different size windows, one large, one small. Okay, so that's what you guys want to do. You want to get a piece of mat board, a piece of cardboard, cut it down, make yourself 2 different mats, one with a window 2 inches by 2.5 inches, one twice that size, 4 inches by 5 inches, and then we'll kind of use those for a range of things throughout the semester. You want to keep these in your kit nice and safe because you're going to use them a lot. Okay, thanks.